Okay, in this video, I'm just going to be continuing on from the last video that you should have just watched. I'm going to pick up with number 24 here. Write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form. This problem, I can solve this problem 3 different ways. One is substitution. The other one is using stat. And the other one would be using y equals by checking the table. I'm going to show you all 3 examples. I'm going to start with substitution. So with substitution, I have 2 points here, -5 and 1 and 0 and -3. Well, first thing you have to do if I'm trying to write an equation in slope-intercept form, remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where I have to find my m and my b, m being the slope and b is my y-intercept. So to find the slope, 2 points, box method. This is the substitution way. Make a box. Now we're just going to solve this box method way. -5 minus 0 and 1 minus a -3. So that's going to give me -5 minus 0 is -5 and 1 minus a -3 is going to give me a +4. I'm then going to divide from right to left, meaning my right number needs to be on top. 4 divided by -5. So I know that my slope is going to be equal to a -4/5. So I have a slope of -4/5. Make a note of that. My m is -4/5. And now I'm going to erase this little bit here to show you the rest of the substitution method. It's a little bit longer for substitution, but you will still get to your answer. So I have my 2 points still, -5 and 1, and 0 and -3. You can pick either point. I always say pick the points that have positive numbers or a point that may have a 0. In this case, we have one that has a 0, so I'm going to use 0 and -3. That's going to be the point that I'm going to use. And I know that my slope is -4/5. So when I write my slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I'm going to use substitution. Wherever I see a y in my equation down here, I'm going to put my y value for the point that I picked, in this case, -3. Wherever I see a x in my equation down here, I'm going to use my x value from the point that I picked. So let's do that now. Instead of writing y, I'm going to write -3 is equal to, instead of writing m, I'm going to write my m that we found, which was a -4/5. So -4/5 times, instead of writing x, I'm going to write my x, which is 0 plus b. Okay? Now, anything times 0 is just 0. So this -4/5 times 0 will cancel out. So now I'm left with -3 is equal to, the only thing left on this side of the equal sign is this b right here. So I'm left with -3 is equal to b. So now I have a b and I have a m. And now I can write my equation in slope-intercept form. So it will be y is equal to -4/5 x minus 3. So this is my final answer here. And if we look at our answer choices for number 24, the correct answer would be A. That's the substitution way. That is one way that you can do this. All right. Another way that you can do this is by using stat. So with that being said, you have 2 points again, -5 and 1, 0, -3. Instead of making a box this time, I'm going to make a table. So now I have a table, and I have x values, and I have y values. So on my calculator, let me go ahead and get that brought up here. On my calculator, I'm going to go to stat. I'm going to hit edit to put in my table. I already have my numbers keyed in here, but let me do it again. Remember, in L1, you're going to put your x values. In L2, you're going to put your y values. So for my x values, I'm going to put -5 and 0. And for my y values, I'm going to put 1 and -3. Now, I'm going to hit stat again. I'm going to go over to calc, and I'm going to hit number 4 because we're trying to find the line, in slope-intercept form. trying to find the line. So we're dealing with a linear function. So you're going to hit enter. It's going to give you that data error. It's incorrect. It still gives you the correct answer. And now I'm given that A is equal to a negative 0.8 and B is equal to negative 3. So I need to convert my slope, which in this case is negative 0.8, to a fraction. So I'm going to hit second mode to quit out, and I'm going to hit negative 0.8, math, option 1 for fraction, and enter. And that's going to give me a negative 4 over 5. So now my A is equal to a negative 4 over 5. And I can write my equation now. Y is equal to negative 4 over 5x minus 3. Just substituting in exactly like we did in substitution method. Using the calculator is a lot easier when you can use stat. This is a lot easier when you can use stat. Now, you have another option. And that's by checking the table. Now, on the calculators that we're using stat, remember, this is a pro. You can only do this if you have the pro version of this calculator right here. But you can check the table on the free version. So you can still do this problem by checking the table if you wanted to use the calculator way instead of doing the long way by using substitution. So by checking the table, you want to come over here. You want to look at your answer choices here. Let me clear this off so you can be focusing. You want to look at your answer choices right here. A, B, C, and D. All of them are solved for Y. So if you have an equation that's solved for Y, you can always input that equation into Y equals. So in Y1, I'm going to put answer choice A, which is negative 4 divided by 5x minus 3. Now, to check a table, you want to hit second and graph. So let me go over here. Let me write the steps down. You want to hit Y equals. You want to start with first answer choice. Start with first answer choice. And then you want to hit second and graph to check the table. Second and graph to check the table. Now you're going to be checking that table for the 2 points that you have. In this case, we have negative 5 and 1 and 0 and negative 3. So this blue side is going to be your X column and this Y1 is your Y. So wherever X is negative 5, Y should be 1. That one checks out. And let's check the other one. Whenever X is 0, Y should be negative 3. That one checks out too. So in all 3 cases, we have come to see that A for number 24 is indeed the correct answer. And now you know 3 different ways that you can solve to get to the exact same answer. Okay, let's go ahead, let's clear this off, and let's look at number 25. Pause the video, and you can use any of the methods that we just learned to see if you can do it on your own. All right. The method that I am going to be using, I'm going to be checking the table. So I have 2 points here. One point is 0 and 5. Another point is negative 3 and 2. Now, bring up your calculator here. You can start with any answer choice. I'm going to start with answer choice C. That's just the one that I want to start with. So I'm going to hit Y equals, and I'm going to write in negative X minus 5. To check the table, I'm going to hit second graph, and I'm going to go find 0. Wherever X is 0, Y should be positive 5. In this case, it's negative 5. So we know that C is not correct. Moving on. Let's check D now. Let's check D. Y is equal to X plus 5. Second graph to check the table. And I don't know why it started way up there, but let's get it back to, oh, I went too far. Okay. All right, here we go. Wherever X is 0, Y should be 5. That one checks out. Wherever X is negative 1, whenever X is negative 3, Y should be 2. That one checks out. So it looks like we may have found our answer here because the points check out. If you want to, you can always go and you can check the other answer choices just so you can reassure yourself that you did indeed get to the right answer. But I'm telling you, the calculator is not going to lie to you. D for this problem is correct because the points do show up on that particular graph. All right, let's move on here. All right, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. So in this case, looks like we only have one option, and that is to do substitution. And they already gave us our slope. So we know our m. Our m is going to be equal to, in number one, our m is equal to 3/4. So if you have slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Instead of writing m, I would write 3/4. Instead of writing y, I'm going to put -5. And instead of writing x, I'm going to put 0. So I can solve this equation for b. So let's do that now. Instead of writing y, -5. So -5 equals, instead of writing m, I'm going to write my m, which is 3/4 times 0. And 0 is because that's the point they gave us. They said that the graph is going to go through that point, 0, -5, plus b. Now I'm just going to solve this equation for b. Well, I know that anything times 0 is just 0. So this is going to cancel out. So I'm going to be left with -5 is equal to b. So in this case for number one, if I go back and I substitute my slope in right here and my b, my equation, final answer would be y is equal to 3/4 x minus 5. This equation is now written in slope-intercept form. All right. Let's look at number 4 down here because I have the space. I already gave us our slope, so our m is 4/5. And they gave us a point. They said that if we graph this, whatever line that we're going to find, if we graph it, it's going to go through this point 5, 1, where we have an x value of 5 and a y value of 1. So if I have my slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I'm just going to substitute my values in. So now instead of writing y, I'm going to write 1 is equal to 4/5 times 5. I got that 5. I just substituted my x value, which in this case is 5. That's where I got that 5 from, and it's plus b. So now you want to bring up your calculator, and you want to do 4 divided by 5 times 5. That will give you 4. So we have 1 is equal to 4 plus b. Now remember, I'm trying to isolate b. I'm trying to get b on the side by itself. So to move this 4, what do you guys think I have to do? Well, is it positive or negative? Well, it's positive. It's a positive 4. What's the opposite of positive? Negative. So to move it, let's subtract 4 on both sides. Remember, like in the Marquez, if you do something to one side of the equal sign, you have to do it to the other. So on this side, the 4s are going to cancel out. They're going to cancel to 0 because 4 minus 4 is just 0. So that cancels out. And now I'm left with 1 minus 4 on this side of the equal sign. 1 minus 4. And so 1 minus 4, that's going to give you a -3. So in my problem, I'm going to be left with -3 is equal to b. So now I have my b, I have my m, I can write my equation, and I'm going to write it right here. Y is equal to 4/5x minus 3. I have my equation. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Clear this off. Let's look at number 2 here. We have a slope of 4. So I know that my m is going to be equal to 4. And I have a 0.11. So I have a x value of 1 and a y value of 1. Okay? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So now I'm just going to do some substituting in. Instead of writing y, I'm going to write 1 is equal to, instead of writing m, I'm going to write 4 because that's what m is equal to. 4. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write my x value. In this case, it's 1. I'm going to write 1 plus b. 1 equals 4 times 1 is 4 plus b. I'm trying to isolate b, trying to solve this equation for b. So I need to move this +4. It's positive. The opposite is negative. So I'm going to subtract on both sides of my equal sign. These 4s will cancel out. And I'm going to be left with 1 minus 4 on this side of the equal sign. So 1 minus 4 will give you a -3. 1 minus 4 will give you a -3. And left on this side of the equal sign is just b. So -3 is equal to b. So I have my b. I have my m up here. I can write my equation. Y is equal to 4x minus 3. Complete. Let's move on here. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. I have 2 points here. Have 2 points, and I have answer choices. Remember, I would probably pick the easier option, which is just to check the table or to use stat in the calculator. Okay? So in this case, I have 1 point here. They didn't actually give you the point, but we can figure it out. Put your finger on the point. Put your finger on the point and drag it to the x-axis. That's at -4. Put your finger on the point, drag it to the y-axis. That's at -3. I have 1 point, -4, -3. And I have another point, which is finger on the point to the x-axis first. Remember, x comes first, y comes second. That's at +4. Finger on the point, take it to the y-axis. That's going to take you to a +2. So I have 2 points here, and I have answer choices that's already solved for y. So the option that I will use is I will probably just check the table. Doesn't take long at all. I'm going to start with answer choice A. And it's 8 divided by 5x minus 1 divided by 2. Second graph. Let's check that table. Let's find -4. Whenever x is -4, y should be a -3. Nope, that doesn't check out because it says y is going to be a -6.9. So A is not right. Let's go back. Let's look at C. 8 divided by 5x plus 1 divided by 2. Second graph. Okay, let's check the table. I don't know why it does this. Takes it all the way to the big numbers, but it's not a problem. Let's go to -4. Nope, does not check out. Y should be -3. In this case, y is a -5.9, so C is not correct. Let's go to answer choice B. -5 divided by 8x minus 1 divided by 2. Second graph. Let's check this one out. Let's go to -4. Okay, well, -4, y is 2. So that one doesn't check out either. So it looks like we only have one other option, but let's just check it to be sure. Let's look at D. 5 divided by 8x minus 1 divided by 2. Second graph. Let's go to -4. Whenever x is -4, y is -3, that checks out. Let's go to +4 for the x. Whenever x is 4, y is +2. Checks out. Correct answer is D. Correct answer is D. All right. Let's look at number 4 right here. Let's look at 4. I have 2 points again, and I have answer choices. On number 3, we check the table. On this one, I'm going to use stat. On this one, I am going to use stat. So I'm going to put my finger on that point, take it to the x-axis. -1. I have 1 point, that's -1. I mean, my x value is -1, sorry. My y value would be a -2. Next point, finger on the point, drag it to the x-axis, +1. Finger on the point, take it to the y-axis, +3. So now I have 2 points. I have 2 points, and I can make a table. I can make a table. I have a table of x values, and I have a table of y values. I'm just going to take my parentheses off now. Have a table of x values and a table of y values. So, oh, I'm sorry. If I bring up my calculator, there we go. If my iPad will work right. I'm going to go to stat. I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to clear out whatever I have in there. I'm going to clear out whatever I have. And in L1, remember, I'm going to put my x values. In L2, I'm going to put my y values. So in L1, I'm going to put -1 and 1. And in L2, I'm going to put -2 and 3. And I'm going to hit stat again. I'm going to go over to calc, option number 4 for line reg, hit enter. It's going to give me a that equals 2.5 and a B that equals 0.5. I need to convert these numbers to fractions. So to do that, let me move this over here. Let's go out to second mode to quit out. And let's do 2.5 math, option 1, enter. That's going to be 5/2. And 0.5 will give you 1/2. And now I'm ready to write my equation, which is going to be y equals 5/2x plus 1/2. And it is not letting me write that there. So Let me write it right here. Y is equal to 5 over 2x plus 1/2. This will be your answer here. And let's look at our answer choices to see which one matches up. Looks like the answer would be B. Looks like the answer would indeed be B. And you can always cross-check by going to y equals. Let's put in option B. 5 divided by 2x plus 1 divided by 2. Second graph to check the table. Let's check for these points. -1, when x is -1, y should be -2. That one checks out. When x is +1, y should be 3. That one checks out. Whichever way you want to do these problems is fine with me.